Aw, I thought there'd be a new cinematic. Okay, so how's it going, everyone? It's Min here. Today I'm going to be reviewing the PTB. I woke up, I looked on Twitter, and saw that the PTB was on for the new Killer and Survivor. I've seen a picture of the Killer and Survivor, although not very well, so I'm still walking into this pretty dang blind. So you guys are going to be here for my initial reaction of the perks and the Killer's powers. So let's get right into it. Oh my gosh. Also, I know it's the Alchemist from the Hollow Blight events. New Killer. Here he is. The Blight. Okay. He looks like... Okay, there's his perks. He looks like that guy from that one high school Dead by Daylight ripoff. You guys know what I'm talking about? He is super weird and creepy, though. Okay, character info. To understand the human condition, one must rise above it. This was the credo of Talbot Grimes, a Scottish chemist whose unrestrained ambition took him to towering heights. As a boy, he was a popular child, bright, charismatic, and unafraid to challenge authority. Yet, despite his social graces, he was fiercely independent, spending much of his own time exploring the sprawling fields near his town alone. What began as a child's curiosity nearly turned deadly after experimenting with a patch of poisonous foxglove. For days he laid in bed, dripping with sweat, purging any food that touched his stomach. When he recovered, it wasn't fear that gripped him, it was fascination. There was something magical in how a single flower could drastically affect him. Into his adult years, his ambition developed as quickly as his questionable methods. He attended the London School of Medicine and excelled at desperate. Despite several reprimands, his willingness to push the limits secured him a position with the British East India Company, and within 7 years he was made head chemist. In time, he completed one of his greatest achievements, a chemical that could increase the workers' productivity while reducing their need for rest. He was rewarded with a secret laboratory beneath the prison camp on Dyer Island. A weird reward. There off the coast of India, prisoners from the Opium War became his unwilling subjects, leading to a drug that allowed soldiers to withstand incredible amounts of pain, though most side effects were minor. There were rumors that a small number of soldiers went mad in feral states. They massacred villages, impaling the populace on bayonets, leaving them hanging from trees. There were no official reports on the subject, and Talbot refused to blame himself for whatever could only be exaggerated war stories. Though his callous brilliance seemed unflappable, he was ignorant to the enemies his questionable work had amassed. The realization struck him quite literally. With steel piped to the back of his head during a trip to Mangalore, he was bound and loaded into a wagon. When his blindfold was removed, a sickly man showed him a mass grave filled with hundreds of bodies. Unbeknownst to Talbot, his productivity increased drug had killed an entire factory's worth of workers. He knew he couldn't defend himself against the anger and accusation of his abductor. All he could do was curl up as the blows from the steel pipe rained down. His body was thrown into the grave and left for dead. Shifting between consciousness and darkest black, he crawled for an escape, fingers sinking into rotting flesh. Black flies feasted on uncovered skin, and sensations of 100 pin pricks stabbing into him. As he collapsed, he became face-to-face with the dead woman's dazzling hazel eyes. Too weak to pull away, he could do nothing but witness his life's work. Then, from the edge of death, he was brought back. He found himself on a small bed as a kindly wrinkled face looked over him. With each pained breath, he was nursed back to health in an ancient mystery school posing as a monastery. In verdant gardens behind tall, unamusing walls, monks studied forbidden texts, striving to expand the human mind in the search for other dimensions, believing one to be connected to the other. Talbot's knowledge proved indispensable, his mind's altering chemicals integrating seamlessly with the theories of neural expansion. He realized then that his salvation was no coincidence. He was plucked from the pit specifically to advance the school's knowledge. He agreed to help until the recovery was complete, being tasked with researching what the monks called the soul chemical, a compound derived from the pineal gland that could open the mind's eye. What began as a favor to his savior soon became an obsession. Poring over the school's archives of the lost texts, he uncovered scientific formulas that confirmed previously unthinkable ideas. He dreamt of ushering mankind into a new period of enlightenment. Perhaps then the nightmares of hundreds of dead factory workers and those two hazel eyes would fade from his mind. As he came closer to a breakthrough, the demeanor of the monks shifted. The gentle smiles they offered were paired and uneasy eyes that quickly darted away when spotted. The polite conversation he was once privy to to turned to hushed murmurs. Last thing he would see of the school was the cracked ceiling above his bed, branching like a dendrite through plaster. His next memories were a shattered mosaic of images and sensations, smearing lights, horse hooves on cobblestone, coarse burlap scratching on his cheeks, and sharp bites into his arm. He woke ragged and unwashed, splayed on the straw mattress on an opium den. Blind in the dense fog, his first thought was of his notes, the only record of his groundbreaking revelations. He searched frantically, scrambling through the dingy basement, pleading aloud for help. A few other denizens looked up from their hammocks, offering nothing but drug-soaked eyes and apathetic gazes that soon fell into half-slumber. Before he noticed, the robed figure appeared behind him, a needle plunged into his arm, and the world disappeared once more. Awoken, again, each time hazier than the last, he tugged at hollow gaps between his teeth. How long, he wondered. A fainted memory returned. The soul chemical, his notes, the verge of breakthrough, a faraway whisper entered his mind. He fumbled with the stone, sharpening it and shaking hands. In the dim light of the den amongst the catatonic occupants, he carved his research from memories into the walls. He wrote for hours until his fingers bled, moving to the floor, taking in everything the voice whispered, despite his inability to comprehend it. When there was nowhere left to write, he gripped the stone and carved the message into his chest. Stained with blood, he witnessed a miracle appear before him. A magnificent field of lush orange flowers. The whispered voice beckoned to him, urging him to enter the field and discover worlds and dimensions beyond human comprehension. For a moment, Talbot felt the sense of wonder he possessed as a child. The denizens of the opium den awoke to silence, the dry scent of smoke still lingering in the air, shambling out of their drug-hazed fog. They found the stone floor wet with blood, tiny rivulets coursing through the cracks. As eyes adjusted to the darkened room, the jagged lettering scrawled along its length began to appear, written over and over without end. There was but one single line: "Death is only the beginning." Well, that took much longer than I thought it would, but very interesting backstory. So before we look at the perks, we're gonna take one more look at him. Okay, how fast is he? He's 4.6 and 32. Okay, he's a normal killer with parries. Okay, do we look at his perks here, or I suppose we should look at them here so we can actually get a look at him. Okay, so let's take a look at his power first. Pistola Serum courses through his veins, corrupting his mind and body, yet granting him unnatural physical abilities. Special ability Rush. Oh boy, something to help him in chase. Press the power button to quickly rush forward. Doing so consumes a rush token. While performing rush, the Blight cannot launch an attack. So he runs fast forward. Okay. Rush into a wall or obstacle in the environment to slam into it. If the rush fails to connect with the wall or an obstacle, or if Blight is taken out of rush tokens, he will enter a short fatigue state and begin recharging the tokens. Special attack, Lethal Rush. Following a slam, press the power button to launch a Lethal Rush. Doing so consumes a rush token. A Lethal Rush behaves the same as a rush, except that the Blight may launch an attack by pressing the attack button. So he can run fast, is what I'm getting. Okay, let's take a look. Oh no, he has a Hex perk, y'all. These are scary. Okay. A Hex which maintains the vile powers that flow throughout the trial. While Hex Undying is active, survivors within 2 meters of any totem will have their aura revealed for 4 seconds. When another Hex totem is cleansed, that Hex transfers to an unavailable dull totem, losing any tokens in the process. Oh, okay. Okay, that's not as OP as I thought. So basically, if you cleanse something like Huntress's Lullaby or Devour Hope, you get to keep the perk, but you lose all the tokens you earned previously. So you have to get Hex Undying before you get any other Hex totem. That's interesting. I wonder how that'll be played out. Okay. Dragon's Grip. After kicking a oh boy, is this another Pop Goes the Weasel type build thing? For the next 30 seconds, the first survivor that interacts with it will scream, revealing their location for 4 seconds and becoming inflicted with the exposed status for 60. Oh, it has a cooldown though. Okay. Okay, the cooldown's gotta be shorter at level 3 though, right? That's stupid. This makes Freddy so much stronger. He doesn't even need to run, I mean, he still can run Barbecue and Discordance, but this is just icing on the cake, dude. This is gonna make Freddy so much of a stronger killer. And killers, he has another Hex perk? Hex Blood Favor. A Hex tick that gain A hex that gains the entity's favor when blood is spilled. When a survivor is hit, paladins within 16 meters of your location are held in place by the entity for 15 seconds? These paladins cannot be pulled down? I mean, I'm assuming the time is longer, the higher level the perk, but that is... how are survivors supposed to chase? I mean, there's strong window loops, but like, this is just a better version of that one Demogorgon perk. Oh, it has a cooldown though. Okay. Very interesting killer. Like, so far, the rush thing seems to only happen and help him in chase. It doesn't seem like he... unless the rush thing goes for a while, and they didn't really explain how you get rush tokens. I guess we go take a look at the survivor now. Oh my... Felix Richter. A visionary architect able to use his relentless determination to form a plan to help other survivors. His personal perks, visionary, desperate measures, and built to last help him reveal generators, rescue survivors, and get the most from his tools. So, does that mean we'll be able to borrow time better? Oh my gosh, look at this man! Okay, here are his perks. Visionary. You are You're remarkably focused on your means of escape. You see generators orbs with a third dimensions! Anytime a generator... oh my... this is a nuts perk! Dude, they just buffed gen rushing! Oh, what? Are you serious? This is gonna break the game! Does it work with open-handed too? Yo, what's the range at level 3 though? That perk alone is gonna make killers hate their lives in a 4-man survive with friends. Pairing that with Better Together doesn't exist anymore unless you want other people to come do gens with you. It's basically only good in solo queue because of the obvious. I think I might run that. That's pretty nuts. Okay. Desperate measures. You refuse to fail even during the darkest hour. For each injured, hooked, or dying survivor, increase the speed of your healing and unhooks by 10%. Okay. If this helped gens as well, then... okay, so this is a counter to Thanatophobia, basically. They basically made Forever Freddy less strong if you're running this perk. I'm not so sure about this one. I mean, it's a strong counter against Legion. It's not a strong counter necessarily against anyone that's trying to not keep the game injured a lot of the time. So I don't know how I feel about this perk. Okay. Built to last. You know how to get the most out of your tools. Once per trial, a depleted item will refill 30% of its charges after 10 seconds. I don't know about that. It better be higher at level 3. 30% is like nothing. Comboing that with like Thunder's Instinct build is pretty good, I guess. Okay, let's read his story. Do I want to actually? Oh gosh. Okay, well here we go. Felix Richter was born to Janos and Ursula Richter in Coburg, Germany, where the Richter family found deep connections and were among the most respected of its physicians. His parents both were members of an ancient society were always out of Richter Manor at medical conferences or providing humanitarian aid around the world. Traveling exposed young Felix to new cultures, languages, and architectural unlike anything he had ever seen before. He wasn't sure when the architectural bug bit, but when it did, it bit hard. He knew that despite his family's legacy, he would one day design buildings that would inspire the world by 23. By 23, he was considered an architectural prodigy, having won the Swiss Architect Medal and the German National Design Award. Yet, despite his succession, Felix couldn't shake the gnawing feeling that his success had more to do with luck and connections than talent and hard work. Yeah, it's called being privileged. Growing up, Felix was socially awkward and introverted, preferring his imagination to the company of others. He had few friends, so when he wasn't traveling with his parents, Felix was in his father's library, devouring rare books, studying history and architecture, soaking up anything and everything he could on architectural movements throughout the centuries. His father hoped young Felix would learn to be more outgoing and hired every possible specialist to help him improve his social skills. When these efforts failed, he threw in proverbial towel and figured his son would learn when he was ready. He then joined young Felix in the library, where he helped him build elaborate wooden models and buildings while telling him wild stories about his secret club and their ancient battles against a dark and ominous force. Stories Felix was sure his father had made up to make his Imperati group sound cooler than it actually was. Felix sometimes wondered if his design sensibilities came from his summer trips to Dire Island, a private island that boasted some of the world's finest homes and designs. Every summer, Felix would accompany his parents to the island, where members of the Imperiati would encourage their children to network and forge lifelong connections. Felix didn't mingle well with the other teenagers, but he did make 4 friends who, like himself, didn't quite fit the high society mold. They were ridiculed by other teens and despairingly called the pariahs, a name they liked and gladly adopted. Instead of practicing public speaking and engaging in endless debates, the pariahs spent most of their time exploring the ruins and mysteries of the island until one of their adventures took a turn for the worse. Exploring an abandoned internment camp, they descended into what seemed to be an underground laboratory where they uncovered old leather journals with illustrations and notes of inhuman experiments conducted on prisoners of the First Opium War held by the British East India Company. As they pushed through a locked door, they found a chamber scattered with human skeletons and dusty vials filled with unknown serum. Before they could examine the contents, the ground seemed to shake beneath their feet and hissing sounds filled their ears. A strange fog suddenly appeared and giant claws seemed to burst from the ground as dark imagination mingled with reality terrorized them. Before they understood what was happening, Felix's father and several other parents came to their rescue, using strange tools and objects to protect them. Felix stared at the scene in shock and disbelief. He wasn't sure if he was dreaming or living one of his father's ridiculous supernatural stories. By the time he realized it wasn't a dream, it was all over. Her eyes were safe, and their parents had mysteriously disappeared without a trace. After the shock of his father's disappearance, Felix searched for any theory that could help him understand the phenomena he had encountered on the island. He exchanged notes with the pariahs and other people who he had met online, who had also lost loved ones in a similar way. The tragedy had fostered a strong relationship between the pariahs, and for years they worked together to unravel the mystery of what had happened to their parents. But nothing made sense, and every lead they pursued hit a dead end. With time, their efforts dwindled, and 5 friends slowly grew apart, each going separate ways, hoping to forget the nameless darkness that had robbed them of their parents. Over the years, Felix proved to be an exceptional architect, though he found a little inspiration working for others. He realized his father was right. His lack of social skills was holding him back. With the dedication and purpose, he improved his diction and decorum and learned to network or play act, as he liked to call it. He created a perfect facade to make himself more likable and popular with potential clients. After working to several architectural firms, he established his firm with his colleague Lauren Golder. Both shared a similar vision and were philosophically opposed to formulaic modernist buildings, often experimenting with unusual materials, shapes, and structures. Felix continued to undermine traditional expectations in favor of edgy and unconventional devices and that set the architectural world abuzz. But even with all the acolytes, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was a phony, like an actor who learned a part instead of a true architect who had inspired the world with an impeccable design. During these moments, insecurity and self-doubt, he would distract himself with endless parties and drown his anxieties in alcohol, wishing his father was still around for harsh advice and tempered wisdom. Eventually, Felix's girlfriend announced that he was going to be a father. The news shook him to the core, and wanting to inspire his unborn child as much as his father inspired him, he quickly pulled his life together. What he needed was a project that could challenge him and cement his worth as an architect. As fate would have it, the perfect opportunity presented itself, and old friends of his father's commissioned his firm, Richter and Golder, to build something new and unconventional. On Dyer Island, the challenge excited and terrified Felix, who drowned his anxieties in books on parenting. Within 6 months, the Dyer restoration project was underway, and Felix surveyed the island. He suddenly heard a familiar voice calling to him from beyond the shattered Victorian buildings and crumbling ruins, hiding dark stories long ago and forgotten. Through a strange gathering fog, he saw a form slowly take shape. His eyes widened and his lips parted, but no words issued forth. Could it be? Was it possible? No, it couldn't be. It was impossible, and yet, the dawning realization, Felix staggered back as he watched his father emerge from the fog. His legs felt weak, and his rising heartbeat thrashed him in his ears. It was him. It was really him. His unborn child would know his grandfather, and he could finally show him how much he accomplished since he disappeared. They stared at one another for a long moment, then his father gave him a look of disappointment, turned his back on him, and proceeded to walk away. Over his pounding heart, Felix chased after him and was never seen again. Dead by Daylight really knows how to write a backstory, dude. Okay, I think we're gonna play a game. I think we'll play one game. I wasn't planning on it. I was planning on just reviewing the Survivor. I wasn't planning on playing a game. Oh, is there different outfits? Well, frick that. I'm sticking with the blue. Is that blue? Guys, is that blue? What? What? Tremendously increased the chance of the hatch spawning at the killer shack? Huh? Bruh. Facing the Blight. The Blight has the ability to rapidly rush in a direction. The Blight can attack with initial rush, but for slamming into a wall or an obstacle, he can trigger a lethal rush. Oh! He has to hit something first? So he has to hit angles. How controllable is it, though? That's what we're gonna figure out, y'all. Then... Oh! Okay, so he's testing out the killer right now. He doesn't get how the lethal rush works. Whoa! Generator looks different. Is this the graphical update as well? I can't tell. Generators sound different though. And look, that is neat. Are there new repairing animations too? I don't know how I feel about this new generator though. I feel like there's way too many colors going on. Dude, this perk is so good. I love this perk. And see where gens are at all times. Is it whenever anyone does a gen or when I complete a gen? Okay, so it's whenever anyone does a gen, not just me. Okay, so he's gonna undoubtedly have... Okay, so if he has that perk, let's see him see where I am by a totem. He can see me right now. There's no point in getting this though, because it's PTB. I don't think they transfer over. Is this the graphical update? I feel like some textures are updated, but others aren't. Like the walls aren't, but the floor is. Oh yikes! Oh, that's a bug. I can see the survivor in the in the shadow of the thing. Okay, well I'm gonna go for the save. Oh, new pallets are here. That's cool. That's so neat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these walls are all the same. I really like that though. Oh my gosh, they actually made it so you move wires. Oh. If only I was actually holding the stuff. It's like we're actually repairing a generator now. That's cool. Wait, are there instructions on there? Is that what he's reading? Or is he, like, looking at something? I don't know. Like, why would he lift up the cover to the thing? Okay, so I don't know what my team is doing, but I'm the only one doing gens. This man loves architecture. He can surely fix a generator. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go find the killer. Oh, there he is. Uh-oh. He probably gets this. No. He breaks it with his hand? Oh. He made it disappear with Blight. Come on, man, chase me. Totem there. Okay, well, gens are done, so he's gotta give me chase. Gonna vault. Oh boy, I don't make this. Get away from me, other Felix. He's gonna use his dash? No, he's not using it in chase. Do I have a pallet anywhere? No. That's cool, I didn't want one anyways. Okay, it seems like I can make it to one. Okay, well he's gonna try to cut me off. Oh! Oh, jeez. He's on X Games, y'all. He's gonna vault, maybe? Nope. Do I have a pallet over here? I've got to, right? Yes! I am not one of the dumb survivors. I know vault instantly. Okay, well, the deal is... They left me, by the way. Oh! Epic! Why was that open? Oh, they had a key! I see. Okay, well, that is the new killer for now. I know that wasn't much to go on since everyone's still new. It literally came out a couple hours ago. But we will be figuring everything out very soon. So thank you for sticking through this video. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, and I'm also not sure how well it's going to be since this fan was blowing into it some of the time. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Uploads have been a bit spotty, but more coming soon. And see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.